You are not all alone in this world. Don't think that you don't have help. Don't think that no one is caring about you. The truth is, there are people who can help you and who are willing to help you. All you got to do is just step a little outside and seek for the help from correct people and from the correct places. So when the life throws challenges towards us, when there is tough times in life, we tend to think that we are the only person who is going through depression, anxiety, or stress or problems. But the truth is, if you see the world, there are millions and millions of people who are struggling and who are suffering in this life, right? We all struggle in our lives to live in this world, right? So it is not your suffering. It is not only my suffering. It is our suffering. We all are suffering in this world. The Buddha said, where there is birth, there is suffering. That is the reality. But we don't want to think about this suffering as something negative, right? It is not the suffering that makes us negative. It is the perspective that we are holding on to suffering makes us negative, right? So, today, I'm not here to talk about depression and how to quit the depression. Today, I'm going to share with you a simple Buddhist practice that can help you in healing these depressive thoughts or anxious thoughts or any kind of mental suffering that you're having. And this practice is called becoming mindful about your thoughts, right? Becoming mindful about your thoughts. In Satipatthana Sutta, Buddha explains this as Cittanupassana. So how can we practice becoming mindful about our thoughts? It is very simple, right? You can do this practice whenever you want or wherever you want. It is free. You totally have the freedom to do it, right? Here's how we can do this. And when we become mindful about our thoughts, what we are doing is we are not judging our thoughts, and also we are not trying to stop our thoughts, but we constantly become aware of what we are thinking, what comes to our mind. So all you got to do is you can sit down, or you can do this while walking, while traveling in the bus, or wherever you want. Just ask from yourself that what am I thinking? Then you will come across with these thoughts, right? So what we have to do is whenever you become depressed, whenever you feel anxious about yourself, whenever you feel sad about something, what you have to do is just notice it. Notice it as a thought. Because most of the time, we judge ourselves by thoughts. We are thinking about ourselves as our thoughts. But remember, you are not your thoughts. When you become more mindful, it gives you this ability to separate yourself from your thoughts, right? So we don't want to judge ourselves by our thoughts. What we are doing is we become mindful. We become more aware of our thoughts without judging. It is very simple. It's like this. It's like you're watching a traffic pass by sitting beside the road. You can see cars are going, you can see bikes are going, vans, buses, cargo carriers. There are so many vehicles that are going. All you're doing is you're just watching them. You're just noticing them, right? But most of the time what happens is we become more afraid about these vehicles and we try to jump into the middle of the road and we are trying to stop these things. Right? That is what you are doing. That is what we are doing when we become depressed or sad. When these sad and depressed thoughts haunt our mind, what we are doing is we are trying to fight it. We are trying to suppress them. We are trying to stop them. The more you try to stop these thoughts, it will come again and again. Remember that. So all you got to do is, we are not going to fight them, we are not going to stop them, we are noticing them, right? You can do this. Just ask this simple question from you: what am I thinking? Then you will find that, oh, my thoughts are depressed. It is not me that is depressed, my thoughts are depressed, right? So what is the nature of a thought? It will come and it will stay for a while in your mind and it will fade away. That is the nature of the thought. So it is just a thought. That means you are not the depression, you are not the anxiety, and you are not the stress. Remember, if you feel hopeless, if you feel that you are not good enough, don't believe what your mind always says. You are more capable than you think. You are more good than you think, right? So what is holding back us is this little frame that we are having inside our mind, that I am not good enough, I cannot do these things, I am not capable of doing these things, I am hopeless, no one is going to help me. If you change that mindset one day, remember, you can do better and you can do more than you think. So please, don't think that you are not good enough. I repeat again, that you are more capable of doing things more than you think, right? So believe in it and work for it. So if you are going through painful situations and if you are having painful memories about yourself, don't run away from them. Don't be afraid of them. Remember, pain is a part of growing, right? If you want to grow, sometimes you have to go through pain. Most of the time you have to go through pain. So if you practice these mindful exercises, and if you seek for the help, and if you do this proper medication for your mental suffering, then one day for sure you are going to be okay. You are going to be happy in your life. And this is the best part of recovering from these traumatic and painful situations. What is that? You can help someone who is in the same place as you were. You can say that, do these things, practice these things, think like this, because I know the pain that you are going through, because I was a person like you. But I am recovered now. You also can recover yourself. So you can inspire others and you can help others. And then you will find the real value of your life. So please do not think that you are not good enough. You're more than enough than you think. So remember these things and practice these things in your life. And I wish you all, may all of you find the real happiness in your life.
From today's video, let's discuss about how can we deal with anxiety and what to do when our mind becomes anxious, right? We all know that how it is painful when our mind becomes anxious and when we become afraid of the things that will happen in the future, or when the mind creates all these scenarios in our head about the things that will happen in the future, right? So how can we deal with this state of mind? There are a few things that we can do, right? But most of the time, when we become anxious, what happens is we become panicked and we take decisions that may not be the correct decision to take. Okay, so today I'm going to be sharing with you few things and few advices that I have given and that helped me a lot personally to deal with this anxiety. So the first thing that you have to do is, first, you have to be aware of your mental state, right? If you're anxious, if you're afraid of something, the first thing is to be aware of it and to accept it, right? Most of the time, we pretend not to be anxious. We pretend not to be fearful about the future, and we try to reject that state of our mind. The more we reject, the more it persists in our mind. So that is why the first step is to acknowledge and accept your current state of your mind. If you're anxious, just say to yourself, okay, now my thoughts are in anxiety mode, right? My thoughts are anxious. I am fearing about certain things. Acceptance will help you to catch the thought and to be more aware of it. And also, when you accept it, it creates less pain, right? Acceptance is the first step of healing. So the first step is to accept your current mental state. And the second step is, this is amazing, once you understand the current state of your mind, what you have to do, the biggest advice that I have given about anxiety is do one thing at a time, right? Take one action at a time, right? We all know that when we have lot to do, right? When we have many jobs to do, what happens? We start thinking about everything, right? We started loading these thoughts into our mind every time, and we try to do all at once. But in reality, we can't do all at once, right? One thing that we can do is we can take one job, one action at a time and do that, right? So how to do this? First of all, to clarify your thoughts and to be clear about what you have to do and what you can do and cannot do, first, sit down in a quiet place, take a piece of paper and write down all the things that you are fearing about, and write down all the things about the current situation that you are in. And also, most importantly, you have to write down the things that are in your control and things that are out of your control. When you clarify these things, you can take actions upon the things that are under your control. So one thing that you can do is sit down, write down all the thoughts, write down current situation of your life, and write down all the things that are under your control and not under your control, so that you're very clear about what to do and what not to do, right? So when you clarify that and take one action, just one action, and what you have to do, just execute that action, right? Don't try to do all the things, just pick one action and do it at one. It's something like this, right? Something like you're grabbing a bunch of oranges, right? What will happen if you try to grab a bunch of oranges at once? You can't grab all of them, right? It will fall, they will fall. So one thing that you can do is pick a basket, take one orange at a time and put it into the basket. In that way, you can grab many oranges. In the same way, when you clarify your thoughts and take one action at a time and execute it, then it will be clear in your mind and it will ease up your mental state. So do one thing at a time. And the third step is to do it slowly and deliberately, right? Even when you become clarified about what to do, don't be anxious, don't be panicked. What do you have to do? Do it slowly, right? One thing that a lot of meditation masters teach is that when you're anxious, do something slowly, right? Slow down. When your body becomes slow down, your mind becomes slow down. That's the connection between the body and our mind. When our mind is slow, our body is slow. When our body is slow, our mind is slow. So do things, take that action and do it slowly and deliberately. Do it with proper consciousness, proper awareness and proper mindfulness. That's so that you feel what you're doing. Then you understand what you're doing, right? So in that way, you can ease up this anxiety. And the last thing that you have to do is do it completely, right? Complete the action. When we are anxious about certain things, what we do, we don't complete that action, right? We just hang over that problem or that task and we don't complete it, right? One thing that you have to do is do it completely, right? Complete your action, do it slowly, deliberately, and finally complete that action so that that step is finished, right? And then once you complete that action, what do you have to do? Take the next step and do it slowly, deliberately and completely. In that way, you can clarify what you have to do, and also you will get a good time to take good decisions. So this is a little way and a tiny practice that you can add to your life to ease up your pain of anxiety. And whenever you are anxious about certain things, try this and it will ease up your pain of anxiety. So keep this little advice in your mind and be happy. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya. Welcome everyone to another video. In today's video, we are going to take a look at the threefold practices in Buddhism. Now, no matter how the way that you are approaching the Buddha's teachings, these are the three practices that you need to practice in Buddhism. Okay? So we are going to take a look at these things. Before understanding these three practices, we have to understand why we should practice these things. Okay? What is the goal and what is the ultimate goal of Buddha's teachings? Now, the ultimate goal of all the Buddhist teachings is to liberate your mind from unsatisfactoriness. Okay? Liberate your mind from all the sufferings in life. Okay? Because the Buddha said that the life is based on unsatisfactoriness. Okay? So once you have a deeper and a wiser understanding about your life, then you can liberate your mind from all the unsatisfactorinesses in your life. Okay? So Buddha realized that to achieve this state, to enlighten your mind and to liberate your mind, you need to make some conditions and you have to practice your mind. So that is why Buddha introduced us these three practices to practice in our practical life in order to enlighten our mind. So, without any further ado, let's dive into these practices. So the first practice in Buddhism is called Sila. Now, I have discussed about Sila in an earlier video. You can watch it here. So basically, the Sila means the moral and ethical conduct. Being disciplined from your body and from your words. Okay? So once you practice this Sila, you can be disciplined from your body and from your words. Now, Buddha understood that when we are living with people, the way we behave, right, the actions that we do from our body and the words that we speak will impact the lives of other people as well as us. Okay? It will impact the life of ourselves, the way we behave and way we speak. And also, it will highly influence the others' lives too. And that is why Buddha said, purify your conduct. Do wholesome things from your body and from your words. So Sila helps you to practice the verbal and the physical conduct in a moral and a more ethical and wholesome way. Okay? So in Sila, we have precepts. Basically, for lay people like you, you have 5 precepts that you can protect. Okay? The first one is abstaining from killing beings. The Buddha says that stay away from killing beings. In that way, you become disciplined from your body. Abstaining from stealing. Do not take others' possessions without their permissions, without the permissions of themselves, with the stealing mind. Okay? Once you protect that, you be disciplined from your body. And Buddha said that stay away from sexual misconduct. When you abstain from sexual misconduct, you become disciplined from your body. And the Buddha said, stay away from lying. Be disciplined from your words. Do not break the trust of others from your words. And finally, Buddha says, stay away from intoxicating your body. Okay? Do not use intoxicants and other drugs. It will lead to harmful situations and harmful consequences in your life. So basically, Buddha introduced us these 5 precepts to protect in your life. When you observe and when you protect these 5 precepts, you become disciplined from your body. Okay? So that is why Sila helps you to be disciplined, to live a disciplined life. Why we should live a disciplined life? We should live a disciplined life to stay away from regrets. Because When you look at these 5 precepts, if you engage in these things, if you kill animals, if you steal others' possessions, if you commit sexual misconduct, if you lie, and if you intoxicate yourself, what will happen? There will be a lot of regrets in your life. And also there will be things that you have to worry about. That is why Buddha says, stay away from these 5 things and you will live a regretless life. Okay, so that is the first practice. Moving on to the second practice, we have samadhi. Now, samadhi can be translated as concentration or mental peacefulness inside your mind. Now, remember, this samadhi is supported by the first practice that is called the sila. The Buddha said, when you practice sila or when you live a moral and ethical life, what will happen? You will have less regrets in your mind. You will have no regrets in your mind. Once you have no regrets in your mind, what will happen? It will lead to the mental happiness. Because most of the people, they worry about the things that they have done in the past. Okay? Unwholesome things that they have done in the past. But once you live according to the precepts, once you live a virtuous life, then you can be happy about yourself. And also, your mind will be in a good and a happy state. That is why this samadhi is supported by the sila. Now, why we need samadhi? Now, we need samadhi to think clearly. Because you know that when your mind is busy, when your mind is scattered, and when it runs here and there, it is very difficult to think clearly. Now, Buddha considered that thinking clearly and thinking freely is a great benefit to understand the reality of your life. And that is why we need to practice samadhi. For practicing samadhi, Buddha introduced many meditations. So one type of meditation is called samatha meditation. Samatha meditations helps you to condense your mind and find that peacefulness inside your mind. Okay? It includes loving kindness meditations, breathing meditations, mindfulness meditations. All those meditations will help you to achieve a peaceful and a calm life. Okay? So, but remember this, to achieve a peaceful and calm life, we have to focus on living a virtuous life, living a disciplined life. Keep that in your mind. So let's move on to the third practice, and this is the final practice in Buddha's teachings. That is called wisdom or panya in Buddhism. Now, so many people think that knowledge is wisdom. Always remember, knowledge is a part of wisdom, but it is not the wisdom. Now, Buddha explains that you must achieve wisdom from 3 means, from 3 types of wisdoms. The first type of wisdom is called Suttamaya Panya. Suttamaya Panya means the wisdom that is gained through learning. Okay? You can learn, you can read, and you can listen to sermons, right? That is called the knowledge. Of course, wisdom has a part of knowledge. And also the second type of wisdom is called Chintamaya Prajna. Chintamaya Prajna is the wisdom that is gained by wisely reflecting. Okay? The wisdom that is gained by wisely reflecting on what you have learned, the reality of your life. When Buddha teaches about the reality of the life, when Buddha teaches about the impermanence and the reality of all the things, you have to wisely reflect on it. Okay? You have to think upon it. And once you think and once you wisely reflect on it, you gain the wisdom. You gain a deeper understanding. Okay? That is called Chintamaya Prajna, the wisdom that is gained by wisely reflecting. And also in the third type of wisdom, this is the most important type of wisdom, that is called Bhavanamaya Prajna, the wisdom that is gained by practicing. Okay? Now, the wisdom that is gained by practicing is supported by all those 2 wisdoms, Chintamaya Prajna and Suttamaya Prajna. The wisdom that is gained by listening or learning, and also the wisdom that is gained by wisely reflecting. Now, Buddha says, when you learn and when you think and when you wisely reflect on it, then you can apply it to your practical life by doing meditations, by doing it practically. Okay, many of the people believe that bhavana mein prajna is only based on meditations. No, bhavana does not mean only the meditation. It gives the meaning of development or practicing. Okay, so you have to look, how can I apply these Buddhist teachings? How can I practice these things in my practical life? Once you do it, your wisdom will be developed. That is how you practice the wisdom in Buddha's teachings. So basically, these are the three main practices in Buddhism. Sila gives you the ethical and wholesome bodily and verbal conduct. And Samadhi will help you to develop a concentrated and a calmer and a peaceful mind. And Prajna gives you a deeper and a wiser understanding about the reality and our existence and all the experiences that we go through in our life. Once you practice these three practices, you will be directed. Your life will be focused on liberation. Your mind will be well prepared for the liberation and to a deeper understanding about the life. So these are the three practices that we practice in Buddhism. Try to practice these things and try to apply it to your practical life. Wish you all happy and a peaceful life. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. In today's video, let's talk about how to control our negative emotions and how to control our mind. Well, the nature of our mind is it always likes to wander in negative emotions and negative thoughts. Negative thoughts like anger, desire or lust, or then jealousy, maybe resentment. These are the negative thoughts that our mind likes to wander in. So how can we control it? Well, our great teacher Supreme Buddha introduced us a gradual training where you can practice this controlling of negative emotions or negative thoughts in your mind. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce them to you. So first and foremost, before getting into these steps, there is one thing that you have to practice, and there is one thing that you have to master, and that is awareness. If you are not aware of what you're thinking, if you are not mindful about what you're thinking, then you cannot control it. So you have to totally understand and you have to totally be aware of what you're thinking. Okay? So whenever you become aware of what you're thinking, then you will have that power to control it. So here comes the first step. Buddha says, whenever you become aware of your mind is wandering in negative thoughts like anger or lustful thoughts or resentment or jealousy, the first thing is to shift your thought pattern to something wholesome. There are some wholesome thoughts in your mind which makes you peaceful. Maybe like thinking of something that you have done in the past, like maybe you helped someone. Whenever you think that thought, your mind becomes happy and peaceful. So what you're going to do is, whenever you become aware of your negative thoughts, we're going to shift our thought pattern to something that is wholesome, something that makes us peaceful. So that is the first thing that Buddha says. Shift your thoughts to wholesome thoughts. If that first step did not work out, then what you have to do, go for the next step. What is that? Buddha says, think about the disadvantages of thinking negative emotions, right? If you are constantly having angry thoughts, then you have to think, these thoughts are hurting myself and others. If I take actions according to these thoughts, it will hurt myself and the others. Remember, it may be a little thought of anger, but if it grow up, what will happen? It will be destructive. So what do you have to do? Think about the drawbacks or disadvantages of thinking these negative thoughts. Then, whenever you see these disadvantages, your mind will tend to stay away from these negative thoughts. Most of the time, we are not aware of these disadvantages. Okay? So what do you have to do? Think. If I keep on thinking these negative thoughts, it is not going to help me. It will disrupt my peacefulness, right? That is the second step. Then as the third step, Buddha says, pay no mind, pay no attention. If the second step did not work out, go for the third step, to not to pay any attention to that thought, right? See, whenever we give so much attention to something, maybe a thought, it grows again and again, it grows more, right? For an example, if you became angry with someone and if you keep thinking about him again and again and becoming angry, that anger will grow more and more. So what do you have to do? We have to let the thought be a thought without paying much attention, right? When you just stay away from giving attention, then it will fade away from your mind. It's something like this. Have you seen little babies, when they fall down, they start to cry, right? If the parent or the mother or father see that it is not a big deal of falling, if mother or father did not give any attention to that baby, what does he do? He just don't care about that. He will stop crying. Same thing goes with our mind. If we did not pay any attention to that thought, right? If we did not care about that thought and just let it go and let it pass away from our mind, then it will fade away. That is one way of doing that. If the third step did not work for you, then the Buddha says, go for the fourth step, to relax your thought process, right? Now remember, when you think negative thoughts, your mind becomes so much busy, so much rough and distracted. So what you're going to do is, you're thinking, why am I thinking these distractive thoughts, these negative thoughts that are making me so much busy and making me distracted, right? So what you're going to do is, you're relaxing your thought process to something very soft and subtle. Maybe like loving kindness, maybe like compassion, right? Maybe like gratefulness. When you think those thoughts, when you think more positive thoughts, your mind or your thought process becomes so much relaxed. And then if the fourth step did not work for you, then it comes the final step. This is something that we have to do with a great care. I do not recommend for everyone to do this. This should be done with a great experience and a good practice, right? And that is to crush your thought with awareness, right? You have to be totally aware of your thinking pattern and have a good determination to your mind that I am not going to think these negative thoughts, right? But this should not be done by everyone, right? Some may be not good at this, right? If you keep on becoming aware and if you keep on forcing this mind, it will grow more and more these negative thoughts. So if all those 4 steps did not work for you, then you have to go for the final step, right? So it is much better to practice these 4 thoughts before doing the final one, okay? So practice these things. When you practice, you will feel and you will understand that your negative emotions are fading away little by little. Remember, this is not going to happen overnight. It will take a long time to do this, but you have to keep on practicing. Keep on doing it. Make it a habit, and then you will become a master of it. So practice this practice and make your mind a place where free from negative thoughts. Namo Buddhaya.